Alright guys, so today we have a really fun video. Thanks to Craig on my Patreon. He suggested this great idea, and I gotta say, I love the idea when it was mentioned. And I want to talk about comics that are 12 issues or less, that are kind of self-contained, that you could just read these and be done with them, but they are amazing, or they hold a special place in my heart. And I'm going to do some different ones that most people would probably pick, but I also want to go through some that I wanted to mention as honorable mentions that I enjoyed, but they didn't quite make my top 10. So with that, my honorable mentions are Beta Ray Bill, the little mini that came out last year. Meet the Skrulls, which was a really cool mini that came out a few years ago. I really liked it. If you ever seen the show Americans, very similar to that. Spider-Man Blue, really an interesting kind of look into the past of Spider-Man and his life. Omega Men, Kingdom Come, Harleen, and Watchmen. These are all ones that I really enjoyed. Some of these are considered classic, like Kingdom Come and Watchmen, and I do enjoy them a lot, but they just didn't hit me the same way these top 10 will. So let's get right into the list. So starting off my list is Justice. What happens when the Justice League loses? That's the opening pages of this, and it just really blew me away, the first few pages. But in that, we have pretty much a doomsday coming, and it gives us these really hard-hitting themes that I just love, because these characters I've grown really attached to, that I grew up with, really hit home the way they're characterized in this. I will say also, I am not a huge fan of Alex Ross's art. I know everybody's like, what the hell, I'm gonna stop the video right here, but for me, the realistic look of the heroes usually isn't my thing, but I thought it really shined here just as much as Kingdom Come, and it pushed the story in an interesting direction with the feel and look of it. And though I think the overall ending of this story isn't quite as strong as the rest of the series, the first 2/3 of this are excellent in my opinion, and really left an impression on me. My number 9 is Silver Surfer Requiem. What happens when death is coming for you? Silver Surfer has to come to terms with his own death that is almost here, and his last few days he's trying to just kind of find happiness. This 4-issue mini, while sounding short as hell, has so many great moments where friends try to help him to, survive the death, and then him just chatting with Spider-Man is just such a great moment. To him just looking back at his past and what he was and how he got here, it all just hits all the emotional check marks for me. And the stunning art from Ribic, I think his name is, I'm so sorry if I'm saying your name wrong, and of course JMS killing it as always with the writing duties. This one is so well done, and you can just read it by itself, even if you never read any other Fantastic Four or Silver Surfer story. Coming in at number 8 is Batman Creature of the Night. The dark tale, written by Kurt Busiek and drawn by John Paul Leon, really hits reality. You know, that kind of reality feel. I don't know if I'm saying right. It has that grittiness to it, but also the sense of a boy just reading about Batman who then wants to be like Batman, but living almost a parallel life to Bruce Wayne and losing people close to him. It's a little bit of kind of injecting our world into a comic world, with dealing with stuff like mental health, loss, compassion, and the book just swings and mostly hits. Well worth it for the character of the Dark Knight, who wants a deeper look into what heroes can mean and who they become to someone. Number 7 has to be Spider-Man Life Story, one of the most celebrated of the bunch on my list. This goes through decades worth of Spider-Man till Peter Parker is just an old man. It's a great way to celebrate the character while also giving us different time periods in Peter's life, and also grabbing from major moments in the eras of the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and 2000s. It really turned out to be just a great read for me, and something I would probably revisit every few years, especially as a big Spider-Man fan, and of course the art is fantastic. All right, The Vision, one of Tom King's first books to get his name on the map, with excellent art from Gabriel Walter. Vision tells the story of, well, Vision and his new family, and nothing is as it seems for this strange robotic family as all hell breaks loose just a couple of issues in. right off the bat, you could just tell something's wrong. It has a very Hitchcock vibe that's felt through the entire 12-issue run. And I don't want to spoil it for fans of the character vision, but even if you didn't like that, just the creepy horror vibes, this book is a must read and you should grab it as soon as possible. I even had my wife read it, who has absolutely no interest in Vision or mostly Marvel or DC comics. She reads just indie comics. She loved this one. So please, guys, if you haven't read the Vision yet, go check it out. All right, and coming into our second half of the list is Superman Up in the Sky. You're going to see a trend here with Tom King. I just love him. I mean, I have some issues with some of Tom King's longer stuff, but when he does that 6 to 12 issue stuff, man, it's either at least good or just perfection. Andy Kupert's amazing art alone makes this a must-own. Basically, the story is simple. A girl who has been kidnapped and taken out of Earth, and Superman is on pursuit to find them. It's just filled with such great moments. It's filled with a lot of heart. We go through various ways Superman has to, well, overcome the odds against him going through the entire universe just to find one girl. And by the end, I was both smiling and I maybe had a tear or two, you know, drop to the floor. Who knows? But yeah, this is a beautiful looking book and a lot of fun to read. All right, and number 4 is Batman Universe. You know, who knew that Bendis would come along and write one of the best and most zany Batman stories in years? Bendis basically writes a love letter to the old school fun Batman with art from Nick Durenton, I think his name is, and that just really shined for me. Some of the most fun and exciting scenes I've ever seen drawn on paper, and characters are just really charming in this series, and there's just a lot of wonderful moments with a weird as hell tone that somehow makes Batman more fun than he's been in, well, years. So you don't always have to be dark and brooding, Bruce. This is some good stuff. And I have to be honest, I loved every moment of this. This is actually one of my favorite Batman stories of all time. And yeah, go pick it up. It is excellent. All right, and coming in at number 3 is Mr. Miracle. And both Tom King and Mitch Gerads, man, I suck with pronouncing names. I am so sorry, Mitch, but you guys came in firing on all cylinders. A story of love, of heartbreak, of doing what's right, of escaping your fate, of suicide, and most of all, family. This is everything I like in comics. It's touching on big themes that we can all relate to while still feeling like a superhero comic. Our friend Scott Free has to balance his life as he's never had to balance it before. And my God, did this make me want to read every single new God comic after. I have never read them before. I've never read them before this. And yeah, I love them now. And now Scott Free and Barter are some of my favorite characters in DC. And this series is a big reason why. Coming at number 2 is Daredevil, Man Without Fear, the basis for a lot of the Daredevil Netflix series, especially season 1. If you want to see Daredevil in his early years a bit unhinged, untrained, and just brutal as hell with some of the best comic design around, this is a no-brainer to pick up. An origin story done in such a great way with awesome pacing. Man Without Fear isn't only a must-read for Daredevil fans, but just comic fans in general. And I'd be surprised if you don't want to go and watch the Netflix series right after you read this, because it has big Netflix vibes. It even has the black suit. Yeah, this comic is pretty much one of the best Daredevil standalones ever, if not the best. All right, and coming at number 1, my favorite standalone comic is Superman's Secret Identity. It's my favorite Superman story. It's filled with a lifelong adventure for the Man of Steel, from first starting out to growing with a family to hitting old age. And I never, quite felt the same way with just a Superman story ever in my life. And I'm going to be honest, too, with the story being a little weird, just kind of like Batman, the Creature of the Night. It's not really Clark, like Clark from the comics. It's a character named Clark who grows up reading Superman comics. And it sounds weird at first, but it is really kind of just like a love tribute to Superman. And I was smiling, I was laughing, I was crying, and feeling all the sorts of like emotions. And Kurt Busiek just creates such a deep look into one of the greatest superheroes ever, and somehow only 4 issues. Keep in mind, they are longer issues than usual. And there is fantastic art from Stuart Immonen. I always say his name wrong. I'm just so bad with this stuff. I'm sorry, Stuart. But really, he gave me a Man of Steel that I kind of always envisioned how he would look, especially older. That really blew me away in terms of just getting old man Clark basically. And this cemented Superman for me in like my top 10 characters of all time for DC, thanks to this run. Really, I gotta be honest, he was like in my 30s, and then I read this a few years ago, and it just blew me away. It's just a great look into the life of Superman, a slice of life, if you will, really. And it just made me so happy to read through. And I read it pretty much every year, at least once. Actually, it's about time to read it again. So yeah, go pick this one up. And that is my list. Now, you'll notice I don't put any indies on here, like comics from Image, Boom, IDW, all those great comic companies. And that's because I was thinking of doing that, and I'm like, damn, there's so many comics I just want to mention from Marvel and DC that I can make a whole separate list for indie. There's so many. So I might just do that. If you guys want to see a top 10 kind of indie list with just 12 issues or less for a series that you can read, let me know, and I might just do that as well, because I'm pretty sure I can make a list pretty easy. But I hope you guys enjoyed this list, and I hope you guys check out some of these comics. These are some of my favorite ever. And if you have a list of your own that are comics that are 12 issues or less, it could be 2 issues, it could be 4, it could be 6, it could be 8, 10, 12, as long as it's 12 or less. Put them down below, let me know. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, do all the good stuff. Like, subscribe, all the good stuff. And I hope to see you guys later.